What is going on with all of my people of the planet? I am D Venom. You are all tuned into Raising Vibrations Podcast. I hope all of my people of the planet, especially my people of addiction, relapse, and recovery, are staying on that straight and narrow and doing everything possible to elude psychic vampires, negative energies, including podbean trolls and scallywags from one's lives. We all should know by now that those particular elements only take away from our energies and our vibrations, and we could elude them at all costs. We have done our own selves some justice and a huge favor. And with that being said, let's get into tonight's episode, starting now. All right, you guys, as mentioned, I am D Venom. I did not mention my feathered friends. Why, my listeners? That is y'all quiz for tonight. Anyway, moving on. It is a beautiful night here in Arizona. I'm recording this particular episode for you guys at my typical recording spot. Clear skies, helicopters are flying, airplanes are flying, drones are, I'm pretty sure, flying. Too bad unicorns and dragons weren't flying around this motherfucker, but it is what it is. People are out being active. I'm pretty sure methamphetamine smoke is being blown in the atmosphere. I'm pretty sure motherfucking fentanyl being blown in the atmosphere and some of, everything else. People are fucking and sucking behind bushes and trees and dumpsters. I'm pretty sure that's going on within the meth world, or the drug world in general and shit. And or the non, it don't have to be about drugs. Motherfuckers, child. Anyway, let me move on. Yes, nippy in regards to the weather. It's a little nippy. Those of you out there that can't handle a tinge of cold weather, you may want to get a jacket, a long sleeve shirt or sweater or something to keep your ass warm. Aside from that, it's a beautiful night in Arizona, Phoenix, and, to be particular. Anyway, my life and what has been going on thus far. Oh, before I get into that, I am going to pat myself on the back again and just say that I am one powerful ass motherfucking empath. And excuse my French, I hate to, use the Lord's name alongside with, cursing or whatever the case may be, but Source has created man, Source, you done a job when you created me. Thank you so much. The good and the bad in regard to my creation. Just thank you for everything. I am the empath that I am, and I am becoming an even better empath now that I have put myself in these 12-step programs, and I'm really truly learning what it is to be of service to others. And it's going to help me in the future to be a better peer support specialist when I do step into my role. Okay. Anyway, I say this because, there's certain levels of empaths that Source created. I don't know all levels, but I do know that there are empaths that care about worldly, events, situations, and or things. There are empaths that care about animals and nature. There are empaths that care about, there's just a wide variety of us out there. Now, there has been argued, it has been argued that the super empath is much more stronger than the Heyoka empath. Then again, it's been said that the Heyoka empath is a lot more stronger and powerful than the super empath. I watched some videos on YouTube in regard to this, and I gather that the Heyoka empath is a lot more stronger than the super empath. it really doesn't matter, in my opinion, because all empaths have their pros and cons in regard to strengths and weaknesses. We're all strong in our own right. Some of us may have a little bit more powers than the other. That's okay. And we're all weak in our own right. And some of us may be a little bit weaker than others. And that's okay. None of us are better than the other. Source didn't create us that way. But, due to the information that I gathered on the subject, the Heyoka empath has definitely endured a lot more than the super empath. I classify myself as Heyoka empath. It doesn't have anything to do with like the region or whatever, or whatever. Like, well, Heyoka is more prone to Indians or, this race or nationality. Fuck all. Excuse my French, but, fuck all that. I think that it has to do with what we have gone through in order to shape us into that particular empath. I've told y'all some of my life story. Y'all don't know everything, and you won't know everything, but I have gone through a lot of shit, and a lot of that stuff has been some very, very hard stuff, especially the things that I've gone through in regard to my battle with methamphetamine. Everything that I went through in regard to that battle was not just associated with this realm. All of that shit pretty much was spiritual, and it continues to be spiritual, but in a good way. And there were times when I was deep in my methamphetamine battle, where it was good in regard to this spiritual aspect of it all. Not all of it, was bad. I had some good lessons and some good experiences, but anyway, moving on from that. I just feel like I am more Heyoka empath, and not because of the whole power aspect or whatever the case may be, but I endure a lot in regard to helping other people find their light and lending energies to people that need energies the most. And I promise you guys, I be so fucking drained at the end of the day. I feel like I want to vomit sometimes when I'm on the phone with people because they're so draining, and not in a bad way. But, some people just need a little bit more attention than others, and that's okay. And some people need a little bit more patience than others, and that's okay. We're all not going to find our peace at the same time. We're finding it at different times, different moments, and whatever else. But anyway, this month alone, I have given so much of my energy and so much of my light and so much of my patience and so much of my time and just so much of me to other people's causes. For instance, around 5 something this morning, I get a text from a good friend that, was going through some shit, and I pretty much was there for them on an intermittent basis because I couldn't neglect my own shit, but I was pretty much there for them off and on all day today. And we just recently wrapped up our conversation on the phone with each other not that long ago. And I was there for them, during that particular time, and they were there for me as well. That can be draining, but I'm there for a lot of other different people, and still have to be there for my own damn self, considering what I'm going through. But Source created me this, he knew that I can handle it, even though I may get fatigued and drained and need to recharge my energies and be alone in solitude and whatever else the case may be. He still knows that I can handle being of service to these people that need my services the most. And it's so interesting how people just open up to me and just pour out themselves without knowing me, you know what I'm saying? And that's the beauty of being who I am. I don't have to know you in order for you to, you know, express yourself to me. And, you know, I'll give you guys an example here, you know, and here, momentarily, just put it that way. But anyway, I just had to pat myself on the back because I was thinking about it earlier, and I'm just like, you know what? You are one powerful ass bitch, and you know, you discredit yourself all the time for being as powerful as you are. You are there for so many damn people in a emotional type of way, and emotional drainage. It can weigh on you, you know, physically and some of everything else. I've been having headaches. My crown chakra has, you know, just been off balance. My third eye has just, oh my God, my third eye just been going through it. You know, I mean, I've seriously just been drained the fuck out because I have been giving so much of myself to others. But I wouldn't have it any other way. I feel like this is my training, because I need all of this if I am going to be the best peer support specialist that I can possibly be. This is my training before I truly get a chance to step into my role, fulfilling what Source wants me to fulfill here on Earth. I have just a little bit more training to go, and I thank these people that are depending on me as of right now for friendship, for love, for non-judgment listening, for non-judgmental listening, for companionship. Compassion, companionship. You know, in so many different ways. I mean, there's so many words that can just describe what these people are needing from me, and I'm giving it to them. And, you know, I am seeing now that I'm going through 12-step and these other different forms of therapy and counseling. And I mean, being of service is just, it's a lot more to that word than just, it's a lot more to those words than just being of service. You know, it's hard for me to describe, but I'm now seeing that the words being of service is something totally different than what I thought it was. And there were times that I didn't want to be of service because it's too much. But now that I'm where I'm at right now in life, I can say that I am proud that Source has chosen me to be of service to others and to help lift this vibration, and to help lift the vibrations of the universe and somewhat save humanity. I'm thankful that he has chosen me to do this. And, yeah, I'm going to be the best that I can possibly be moving forward. You know, thanks to the training that I'm getting now. So again, Source, thank you very much. I appreciate it. And I missed 1333 by a couple of minutes, but I caught it. So that's confirmation that Source loves what I'm saying. And I honestly do thank you, Source, for allowing me to go through those things that I've gone through, you know, regardless if it was good or bad, because it is definitely shaping me into a whole better person. And I can't wait for the final outcome, you know, to see what I'm going to be or who I'm going to be in the future. And moving on from that. Okay, you guys, last night I attended another 12-step NA meeting, and it was packed, to say the least, full of transgendered people, gay folks, lesbians, and a handful of motherfucking straight people, mostly straight men. You know, and I love the diversity of our meetings. the fact that we can all come there and, you know, we have one thing in common that we're trying to achieve, and that is recovery. And I love it. I love it. It got emotional last night. One guy shared his story, you know, a gay man. I won't go too much into it, but, he's in a sober living house with a bunch of straight men. And I guess, he kept it to himself that he's gay because he felt like he would get, ostracized. I hope I said that word right, but, he just felt like he would get shunned by the rest of the people. And I guess yesterday he came out to those men and told them that, he's gay. And my thing is, there shouldn't be no discrimination anyway, considering that you guys are in a sober living house struggling and going through the same motherfucking thing and trying to accomplish one goal, and that's recovery. So, regardless if you're gay or not, there shouldn't be no form of discrimination. But, I guess because this person had been discriminated pretty much all their life due to the fact that they kept relapsing off of drugs and whatever, and getting in trouble and whatever. I'm paraphrasing, but getting in trouble and whatever the case may be. And people just, turned their backs on them. And I guess these straight men embraced him and showed him love and told them that he's their brother and they'll be there for him and whatever. I mean, they care for him. And it brought the man to tears, and his tears brought pretty much all of us to tears. I was even in tears, and people were choked up, and, it was just a lovely story that this man shared. And, I'm glad that he shared it. And then there were a handful of straight men that stood up and, told their truth in regard to addiction, relapse, and recovery. And, a lot of the men were pretty much pushed away and abandoned by the straight community, told that they weren't going to be worth shit and whatever else the case may be because they kept relapsing and getting in trouble. Certain programs turned them away, because they kept getting in trouble and whatever. And here they are at a gay in a meeting. And here it is, the gay community open up our doors and our arms to these people, to these straight men and women. And we didn't look down upon them. And we hugged them and we told them that it was going to be okay. And, we told them that there were going to be something, regardless if they relapsed. We took them in. And these straight men and women are grateful for that. And, there's like this one guy, he just got out of prison or jail and, unfortunately relapsed and whatever. And now he's trying to get his life back on track. And a lot of people turned their backs on him because of the fact that, they relapsed again or whatever. And, once again, this person is a failure. They're not going to do anything, blah, 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 blah. And they ended up going to the organization that I go to, for a meeting or whatever, to turn their life around and get another chance at it. And they embraced him and they opened up their doors, and he was grateful for that. And he stood up and he thanked, us, for, being so, kind hearted and welcoming. So, it was a beautiful thing last night. And, somebody reached a year of sobriety, and, I received another coin. Because I confessed that I was, a certain level of being clean, and I can continue to receive these coins at each meeting that I go to. And every time that I confess, when they ask, have you been clean for this length of time, I can, get up and get a coin. And guess what? I'm going to collect as many motherfucking coins as I possibly can until I make it up to a damn year, and I will get a black coin. Cause right now I'm getting these right now I'm getting these y'all see my coin. I posted them in the community section. They're like a turquoise green color. But anyway, a turquoise color. But anyway, when you achieve a year, you get a black coin, with the gold, trimming or whatever on it. And, so anyway, they passed it around amongst everybody, and I guess we all touch it and bless it and give it back to the person, that it originally goes to. Anyway, I have a sponsor. My sponsor is actually the person that achieved a year in sobriety. And, this person is actually they're a lot younger than me. And, come to find out their sponsor was there, to help celebrate, their year of sobriety, brought them flowers and, all that shit. Anyway, it was that person's sponsor that talked me into allowing them to become my sponsor. Because I could have been anal and been like, well, I'm looking for someone that, has a little bit more experience under their belt in regard to sobriety that, can help me out. This person only has a year versus someone that has, 15 years. But I didn't want to discriminate. This person, just because they're young, doesn't mean anything. They can possibly teach me a whole bunch of damn shit in regard to addiction, relapse, and recovery, and vice versa. I think that we could help each other in regard to this journey. So I'm happy to be, working alongside with this person and moving, forward. So anyway, after, we all shared and listened to stories and stuff like that, we ended up going to a restaurant. Not all of us, but it was a great majority of us that went to this restaurant to get a bite to eat. And we further interacted with each other. I got a couple of phone numbers and gave out my number to a few people. And it was a nice time. They double charged me on my motherfucking receipt, and they forgot to call me tonight about that. So I will be calling the restaurant tomorrow I'll give it some time. I'll allow a couple of days to go by to see if my information was passed over to who it was supposed to have been passed over to, and see if they'll call me. If not, I will be either going in person to this restaurant or calling their ass back. But anyway, aside from me being double charged for a root beer float, that shit I could have made my damn self, which was worth $10 motherfucking dollars and some change. I had a good time with everybody else. It was, 22:22, time of the motherfucking recording. Grams, thank you very much for, tuning in. That was my grandmother's angelic number. Anyway, you guys, aside from that, I went to, Recovia today. And, I received something from Recovia. I'll get into that here momentarily. Oh my God. Momentarily. Okay. Anyway, you guys know, because I foreshadowed that I, did an intake with Recovia over the phone. I believe it was last Saturday sometime. And anyway, today was my official day of therapy, through their organization. I get there, a little late, but I get there. And, the first session that I have is the mental section. The mental session. I do apologize. Let me moisten my palate. I'm going to moisten my palate. I keep wanting to ask y'all permission to get something to drink. What the fuck? Anyway, it was the mental aspect of it all. So I get there, we go into, the person's room, and, we're talking. I do some, stuff I answer some questions on some, on paper, and, to, give them a, how can I say it? To let them know where I'm at in life, so they know what to do moving forward with me and my therapy. After that, I was shown a video courtesy of YouTube in regard to addiction. I won't go too much into it, but I will share it as a hidden gem for you guys that are curious about what I've seen. It changed my view on addiction, for sure. Anyway, it's an interview with a guy. He sounds like he's from overseas, like Britain or something. I can't think of his name, but, they did an interview with this person who also has addiction in their family. Anyway, they did a study, just to, wrap it up in a nutshell. They did a study on some rats in regard to, putting them in a room with nothing except water. And in one supply of water would be, just regular. That didn't come out right. Okay. They did a rat experiment and they placed the rats in these square box rooms with no, form of activity or, or nothing like that. The only thing that they had was water, and in one cup of water or whatever, was just regular water. And in the other supply of water, it was drug induced, and it was drug induced with either cocaine or heroin. Now, what they found is that the rats went over to the heroin water or the drug induced water, and they enjoyed that a lot more than the regular water. And they drank that water into the point that they overdosed. This is how they looked at addiction, due to that experiment. Drug addicts are this particular way. And, someone went against that experiment and did their own experiment. What they did was build a natural habitat for the rats, gave them all the pleasures that they wanted, food, sex, because they put female rats in there. It was just a amusement park for rats, and they called it Rat Park. Anyway, they also put the drug-induced water and the clean water in the enclosure as well. And they noticed that the rats didn't really fuck with the drug-induced water. And if they did, they tasted it or whatever and didn't go back to it. And they also realized that the rats weren't overdosing. So in a nutshell, addiction is, how can I say it? Addiction is not, addiction shouldn't be called addiction to a degree. Well, damn, I don't want to fuck up what the guy said. I'm paraphrasing it, but addiction is, in a nutshell, should be named something else. And I think what he said is addiction should be called boundary. Not boundaries. Oh my God. What did he say? I'm so sorry, you guys. Damn. It has to do with like companionship, bonding. Anyway, I will definitely go to my watch later playlist and get the name of that video so you guys can watch it and, just form your own opinion in regard to the experiments. And there was another experiment done in another country. Now, they went against how the U.S. treats people with addiction. Here, we want to shun people, throw them in jail, give them harsh punishments, look down upon them, turn our backs on them, thinking that this is going to help the situation, do interventions like the actual show intervention, grab family and stuff and, put them all in a room and, force them into intervention, with pressure. And in other countries, they went against that and they start rehabilitating the people, giving them jobs and doing this and doing that. And they've seen that by doing this, overdose had went down, drug use has went down, AIDS had went down. I forgot what country is, a city over there. No, I think it was the country. I forgot, oh my God, y'all just have to see it. But anyway, I would definitely hidden gem that for you guys because it's very good information. So anyway, after taking all of that in, I did the medical aspect of my therapy / recovery. And that gave me a chance to tell the medical personnel about the naltrexone and how it's, pretty much interrupted my sleep patterns that night. I get up, I use the restroom, and I'm up for a while. And then I have to force myself back to sleep, which I don't stay sleep long. Anyway, I explained all this to them, and they decided to incorporate another medication, which I'm not trying to be on a whole bunch of medications, but I will take this particular medication for sleep because I was on it years ago back in my Vegas days, and it's called hydroxyzine. And I absolutely love hydroxyzine because I never had any problems with it like I did when they had me on Elavil. Elavil, I was comatose. No matter how much rest I got on that motherfucking medication, I could not sleep the feeling of being tired off. So I just ended up discontinuing that medication, and I think that's when they put me on hydroxyzine. But anyway, they're going to start me at 50 milligram, and I take it, at night, of course, and this will help with my sleep. So I'm happy that they're incorporating this in my life because, I could use, and we all could use some good ass rest for rejuvenation. Shit. Anyway, that was pretty much it with the medical aspect. I was asked a couple of other questions, whatever else the case may be. And it was time for group. And I did not know that I was going to do group this early in the game. But anyway, I was in group with about, maybe 3 other people, small group, which I was happy about. But, they was playing meditation music in group and the atmosphere was like Zen mode, so to speak. And, I like that. Anyway, the person that, conducted that particular session, which was the same person that I watched the Rat Park video with, asked us to write down on a piece of paper. Let me see. How do we see ourselves within, or something like that? And then they asked us another question: how do you think other people, see us, or whatever? And I'm listening to some of the answers from other people, and it's so sad that there are so many lost, broken people out there that don't know their self-worth. And I'm still discovering my self-worth. Don't get me wrong. I went through a lot to discover mine, but I answered totally different from everybody in that room. And, I'm not saying that my answer was better than anyone else, because, we're not there to compete against each other. But I honestly felt bad for everybody in there that answered the way that they answered. People are just, lost, and some people are, hoping that they, get their life together, and some people, without saying too much, it's just sad, very low vibrational. Anyway, I'm going to read what I said. Let me get some light. Hold on. Okay. This is what I said. I see within me a strong person who's never going to give up regarding one's battle with addiction. I see someone that's empathetic and sympathetic towards other people's needs and feelings. A person that lends light to others whose lights are possibly dim due to whatever circumstances. As a chosen one, I am spiritually contracted to uplift the vibrations of the universe and be of service to humanity. So I see a server of God within myself and a server of humanity. I see a shining light unlike no other. I frequent/vibrate on a whole different level than most. In a nutshell, I see the shit within me, and I'm not talking about the poop that comes from our rectum. And I answered the second question by saying this: I can care less what others see when they look at me because I'm not here. I can care less what others see when they look at me because I'm not created to appease to others. I'm created to appease to God. That's what I said. And this girl that was sitting next to me when I was reading, basically, because she read before me, she was just like, oh my God, somebody understands, someone gets it, blah, 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 blah. And, I like that. Not that people not that people are relating to me, but it's refreshing when someone feels the same way you feel. And I guess this person was trying to explain how they've been feeling about certain things, but it took someone, how can I say it? It took me, I don't want to give me the credit, it took someone that had the same feelings and similarity to what they're going through. It's not coming out right. I apologize, you guys, but y'all get where I'm coming from. I hope so. It took someone with the same experiences and the same feelings to put that shit on paper or whatever. And yeah. But anyway, we had a long conversation with each other after, that session was over and done with. And it's interesting because we're both from Illinois and, not that far from each other, in regard to, towns, cities, and whatever else the case may be. And, we talked about being empaths. We talked about being there for other people. We talked about being drained at the end of the motherfucking day after, lending so much light to these individuals that need us and energy. And, we just had a lot of stuff, in common in regard to, being chosen and just a lot of things. And that is refreshing, when you just have like-minded people that understand exactly where the fuck you're coming from. And the fact that, what I wrote down just resonated, I love that. And then there was a guy that was asked to read after me. And, I felt bad because he was just like, well, after hearing what I pretty much wrote down, I can't compete against that. And I looked at him and I'm, even though I had my mask on, I just had this look on my face like, don't say that, because, it's not, for one, it's not a competition. I'm not here to be in competition with anybody because, it's just not about that. I just felt bad for him. And then what he said, what he read, was even more heartbreaking. I don't want to paraphrase anything, but it was just heartbreaking. And I just felt bad for the young man. He's not a bad looking young man, it's just a matter of him finding himself. And, like he said, in regard to what he wrote down, hopefully eventually he'll, find himself and whatever the case may be and everything will be all right. Paraphrasing. But like we hear on podcasts, do you realize how many motherfuckers in this world are broken and lonely and simply need somebody to converse with? I have been there for my fair share of motherfuckers since I've been here on podcast, on Podbean. I'm not going to mention any names, but, I was there for someone or a couple of people that, felt like harming themselves and I talked them out of it. I was there for someone with, I'm going to butcher this, cerebral palsy. I'm sorry. I know I butchered that, but I was there for that individual, and I will admit, due to their condition, I really could not understand some of the stuff that was coming out of their mouth. And there were times that I wanted to end, the live, chat because I just, it was frustrating in some areas. I did not do that, because this person needed me. They didn't need me, but, I was there for them and I was, happy that I was, of service and I could be there for them, at their time, that they needed someone the most. So I love it, being, just talking to people from all across the world and people are hurting and people are lonely and people are just going through some stuff. I was on somebody else's platform and, someone was explaining that they went through some racial shit in motherfucking Thailand. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, damn, is racial shit going on in Thailand considering they got all type of lady boys out there and some of everything else and people want to get racial? I mean, who knew that motherfuckers was getting racial in Thailand? But this is what I love about podcasts. You just meet so many different people across the world that that probably aren't going through some shit. But there are a lot of motherfuckers that I have, talked to on this podcast, on this platform alone, that have, pretty much been going, through some shit and needed someone to talk to. And I'm glad that I'm glad that I was there to be of service for those people, is what the fuck I meant to say, or was trying to say. Anyway, I did the physical portion at Ricovia, if I didn't mention that. We did some breathing exercises and some stretching exercises and all of that type of shit. Where all of this comes into play is, we're basically exercising certain muscles, because, hell, we forgot all about that shit during drug addiction and whatever the case may be. Wasn't nobody trying to, exercise no motherfucking muscles aside from dick and lifting up the motherfucking arms to put that pipe in one's mouth so we can blow clouds. Yeah, we were utilizing muscles then, but, this is a holistic approach. And I've been getting healthcare, since the day I came out my mama's coochie. And from my understanding, I have never had a holistic approach in regard to any of my medical, concerns and or issues. So I'm getting used to, using my body in a whole different way to heal itself, breathing, I'm going to say this wrong too. I have to say these words constantly so I can make them mine. Diaphragmic breathing. I know I said that wrong, but anyway, it's a certain way of breathing in order to work the muscles that, help us breathe in and out. I think it's one muscle. I said muscle. But anyway, I'm obtaining a lot of very good information from both organizations that I attend, the 12-step and Ricovia. And I'm just loving all of it. The breathing exercises, the stretching, all of that. And pretty soon we're going to be doing meditation and spiritual work. It's just a blessing that I just came across these hidden gems. And, I just wanted to share them with you guys. D Venom is on her way. And, this is where the magic is going to happen during my recovery. I feel it. I sense it. I know it. It's going to happen. I'm going to be something real soon. And with that being said, for 42:22 time of the recording, I just hope that my people of addiction, relapse, and recovery, I just hope that you guys, wake the fuck up, grow the fuck up, and, realize that continuing on with the addiction and relapse phase is just continuing to keep you in that cycle and continuing to keep you stagnant from growing. If you want to get to the recovery phase, you're going to have to fight real hard for it, because I did it. And I'm pretty sure a lot of motherfuckers that's in our shoes had to fight extremely hard to get to that phase. It's not easy to want to give up that life for a better life. But, if you want it that bad, you'll fight needle and tooth to get it. And that's all. I'm done. Anyway, 43:22 time of the recording. I'm going to get home because the bitch is hungry and whatever else. I may go live with you guys and I may not. I may just, dedicate the rest of this time to my own motherfucking self. And, let that be the reason. Anyway, you guys, there's hope. And, I guess with that said, I'm officially part of the coat or coats in regard to, 12-step and Ricovia. So yeah, it is what it is. I'm a proud member of these motherfucking coats. How about that? They give me the help that I need to be a better D. And, but I'm out. I'm going to end this on angelic time, and let that be the reason. All right, you guys be good. Thank you all for tuning into my live chats and my episodes and, following and all of that stuff. I just have much love for all of you guys. Y'all keep me going. And, so anyway, namaste.